going to tell you how to teach your toddler to write. Now, writing is a very complex process. It does not happen in one day. First, the child has to learn to use his hands. Now, a little one, a toddler, never does anything on his own. Mothers feed the child, mothers dress the child, and the child doesn't use his hands. Now, we as adults, we can write with our right hand because we have been doing so. It is the practice of writing, practice of doing everything. But today, if you tell me to write with my left hand, I will not be able to do so. So for a toddler, both their hands are like left hands. They don't use their hands at all. So how do they hold a pencil and a crayon and start writing? Parents expect that, okay, now we have put them in school and they know how to hold a crayon, they will write. It doesn't happen. First, we need to do a lot of practical everyday life activity with the child. For example, now there are two things: gross motor movement, fine motor movement. Writing is a fine motor movement skill. But before the fine motor movement, they need to do gross motor movement. So what is gross motor movement? Like, for example, holding a glass. So can a child hold a glass and take the water and drink the water? Is he able to pour water? Can he do this? Does he have control over his hands? Okay. Is he able to take a banana, hold a banana and peel a banana? Well, you may think, what is a banana and pouring water got to do with writing? Definitely it has a lot to do with writing because it is all about the control of your hands. Okay, so simple things like maybe folding a napkin. So whether a child is able to fold a napkin or roll a napkin. So everyday life activity, whatever the child does at home, he should do on his own before he begins to write. Okay, now once he begins to write, a child needs a big canvas. Now tell me something, why do children like to scribble on the wall, scribble on the floor? Because all kids, they write from here. That is the way they write, the entire arm moves. But how do we write? We write like this, only our finger joints are moving. So we have to bring that from the shoulder to the elbow, to the wrist, and finally this. So that is a long process. That is why children love to scribble on the wall, because the canvas is very big. So we need to provide our children with different canvases and different mediums. Now what can the canvas be? It may be a blackboard, a whiteboard, it can be big chart paper, it can be paper. So different sizes and different mediums we give them, and canvas we give them, and the medium can be watercolor, medium can be crayon, can be pencil, they can use a brush, they can use with a finger, they can use with earbuds. So we are going to do today this entire process of learning to write. So stay with me and let's see how to help our toddlers to write. Now for this activity, we need some paper and we need watercolor, water, cotton, some earbuds, brush, some household items like spoon and bowl, pencil, crayons, some stencils. We will come to that one by one, and inset and outline. So let's get started. Now the first thing we are going to do is let our children do a lot of scribbling. So I'm going to take a plain sheet of paper to do scribbling. As I told you earlier, children love to scribble and they do not have any control over their hand movement. So just scribble, 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 scribble as much as they can, and they do not have to control their hand movements, whether it is going outside or where, because there is no outline here. The child just goes on scribbling. Now this is a very good practice for firm grip, and let the children scribble with crayons. So we have done a page of scribbling. We can do. Now we are going to give the child a small border, because we want the child to control his hand movements. He will scribble within the defined space. Here, there was no defined space. Scribble as much as you want. And this your child can practice for months depending upon his age. And when you think his grip is firm and he's able to do this, we can move on to the next step. Now here the child is going to scribble, but the child is not going to go outside the line. Now this will not happen in one day. Definitely he is going to do this, but slowly he will learn to control his hand movement. Like I said earlier, children move their shoulders when they're writing, and then their elbows, and then their wrists. So now when he's doing this, he's moving his elbows. Now we are going to give a smaller space. So we are going to make a larger boundary, and now let the child scribble. So what happens? Now he's moving his elbow and his wrist. Okay, he's not moving his shoulders. Next, the space gets smaller, the margin gets bigger. Now if you see, the child is moving his wrist. He is moving his wrist. He is not moving his shoulder. He is not moving his elbow. He is moving his wrist. Not yet moving his fingers, moving his wrist. But as the space becomes smaller, the child learns to move his fingers. He's still moving his wrist. Okay, now we go back to this, and now we see the child here is actually moving his fingers. You see, now he's doing the finger movement. When he was doing the larger one, when he was doing this, he wasn't doing this movement. What was he doing? He was just holding the crayon and he was doing this. His entire arm was moving. Entire arm. But do you think here his entire arm is moving? No. His arm is still. It is still. And only his fingers are moving. So that is what we have to achieve. From here to here, a smaller area, and then smaller than that, still smaller, and we go on and on. Now, do not give too many small spaces for the child to color, to save paper. Let him understand that this is the canvas, but my area for coloring is only this. Next part, after scribbling, the child is going to learn to draw outline and inset. So let us see what he is going to do. So let's try any household item you have. Like I have taken a bowl. So let's take a bowl and let us do an outline. So what is he doing when he's doing the outline? What is happening here? His hand movement is restricted inwards, but he can go wrong outwards. So one side, his hand movement is controlled on one side. So this is an outline. If we take this, this is an outline. So here, this is an outline. So whatever you have at home, what is an inset? This is an inset. Where you may go wrong inside, but you cannot go wrong outside. This is an inset. A bangle is an inset. Bangle is an inset here. But if you do it outside, this is outline. So let your children practice with random objects in the house that they have. They can take a spoon, they can take a fork, they can do with anything. This is a very good pre-writing skill for the child to actually control his hand movement and maneuver it around different shapes. So we have used household items like bowl, like spoon, bangle for doing inset and outline. If you have the Montessori apparatus like this, you can use these too. Now we are going to do stencils. I have the ready-made stencils. If you don't have, then you can take a mount board or cardboard and cut out lines like this and let your child practice. So we are going to learn lines first. So we are doing sleeping lines, standing lines, and then we have slanting lines, slanting in both directions, slanting lines, and we also do curved lines. here. So we are done with the lines. Now let us use some other medium or tools for writing. So let's see. I've taken some paper and I've drawn some sleeping lines. You turn it around, that becomes standing lines, slanting lines and curved lines. So let's see, what are we going to do? So let us start with finger and watercolor. So I have got watercolor here and I'm going to dip my finger and do some finger and watercolor activity, that is drawing lines. So let's do sleeping line, right? Let the child do this as much as he wants. Sleeping lines. And when he's doing this, he must say sleeping lines, all with his fingers. Now he can practice this for a very long time just using watercolors. Now if I turn this around, it becomes standing line. So I can also do standing line, but let us use something else. So what can we use? We can use earbuds. Okay, so let's see. Standing line, standing line, standing line. The child has to learn to run his finger or hand in the direction of the line. So standing line. What other tools can we use? We can use brush. So for the purpose of the video, I'm only doing two lines, but you can do many pages of dipping the finger in watercolor and doing then few pages with earbuds and few more pages with the brush. So different tools we are using for the child to learn to follow the lines. Standing line, standing line, standing line. Okay, now sleeping line, sleeping line, sleeping line. Children love to use watercolor. They love this medium. Okay, so that we have done with this. Now let's see what else can we do. Now we've got slanting lines. So why not dip some cotton into this? Dip it into some water and let us take color. Okay, so slanting lines, and we are doing it with watercolor. Slanting lines. And now we come to the curved lines. So let us go back again to using our fingers. So let's see. This is curved lines. And why do you think we are teaching them lines? Because every alphabet is formed, letter of the alphabet is formed with lines. Okay, so with straight lines we have L, T, H, I, E, F. With slanting lines we have X, Y, V, W, Z, M, N, and so on. And with curved lines, what do we have? With curved lines we have B, D, C, O, Q, etc. Yes? So keep on practicing this with your children. Let them play with lines, with watercolor, different mediums, different tools, different canvas, and they will definitely learn their motor movement, their control over their hands, and they will be able to write better. I hope this video helps you to teach your child how to write in a very interesting manner. So please do practice this, and if you have any other way of teaching your child how to write, do write in the comment box. Like my video, subscribe and share. Thank you so much. We'll be back with the second part soon.